Thank you very much. We're looking at the construction, and we're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons why we wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. We wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
That's our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does the issue give you any? As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire them.
Do you think this issue, Mr. President, gives you cause to do that?
Well, I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around, showing us the work. And so I don't want to get that. I don't want to be personal. I just would like to see it get finished. And in many ways, it's too bad it started. But it did start. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's going to be a real long time because it looks like it's got a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So.
President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you? The country is doing really well. I just briefed the chairman on the deal we made with Japan. Japan is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff. And they also opened their country to free trade, which nobody thought was even a possibility. And we get a zero tariff in the free trade. We don't pay tariffs, and they're going to pay 15% on everything they send into our country. So it's great. But they put up, as you could call it, seed money. Let's call it seed money. You could call it anything you want, but it's a total of $550 billion. So nobody thought any of that was possible, and it's wonderful. And we're doing pretty well with the European Union, likewise. And we have some others. They're all really big, and our country's going to make a lot of money. We would be helped if interest rates would come down, but we're going to see how the board rules on that soon. I'd love to see them come down a lot. But we have a country that's thriving. We had a dead country 1 year ago. Today we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And we'll get this one finished.
Mr. President, do you
Thank
think
you.
that your own housing
Hey, checking, hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Where it's storming where I am right now, hard. So,
I could hear the storm in Dolby's audio while we were on chat. You should be able to hear me now. Uh, Looking good, sounding good. Just played a quick clip of the tour of the renovations to the Fed building that they're doing. We know the president and a bunch of his crew is checking out the renovations. I think it was $2.5 billion in renovations to the Fed building. So they're checking those out. Just real quick, got some comments from the president. You heard him in there talking about, he likes Powell, but he wants him to cut rates. Continuing to put pressure on him to do so, and maybe even finding some cause to potentially remove him from his job if these renovations don't look up to code. But welcome to At the Buzz, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a top step performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, knowledge, and hopefully assist you in becoming a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you for joining us every day. If you haven't done so already, do it early. Hit that thumbs up button. We'll review what happened in the markets for the day. But also let us know how you did in the chat. Were you up on the day, down on the day, anything that you learned from today? Looking for markets to make all-time highs that didn't happen. Uh, a game of ticks in the NASDAQ. We'll talk about it. And we'll get right into it. Let's take a look at the news. We know we have the U.S. and the EU. We talks of potential trade deal. We heard from the EU this morning that there's not necessarily a deal, and they hope that we don't go to 15% tariffs. And we have comments from President Trump that says we're doing really well with the EU. So nothing, no ink to paper yet. But we'll see what happens. Also, some comments from the president about the renovations to the Fed meeting. Looks like Fed building costs went up a lot of very expensive work at the building. Said it's too bad that it started. Pretty expensive renovations, but we will see there. We also did have some jobs data come out. Jobless claims came out a little bit better than expected. 217,000. Forecast was 226. And we had S&P Services PMI flash number come out as well. 55.2. Forecast was 53. Manufacturing PMI came out at 49.5. Forecast was 52.7. Anything you have on the news, Coach Paul?
It's the tariff deals, Europe, back and forth, this, that. That's going to stay front and center, but nothing out of the usual until something new happens. So, and the market, I think the market reflected the lack of news. So,
Take a look at the markets then. We have 35 different markets we can trade with top step accounts today. To the downside, we had soybean meal down 0.84%, the Russell down 1.26%, and heating oil down 1.46% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we had corn up 0.84%, natural gas up 1.09%, and crude oil actually making a decent move on the day, up 1.3%. Micro Ethereum, of course, is up there, up 3.98%, but no one trades that. We have to round out our big four. We already talked about crude up 1.29%. The S&P pretty much flat, 0.11% to the upside. Gold continuing to sell off a little bit here, down 0.72%, and the NASDAQ up 0.33%. The S&P did make new all-time highs last night. The NASDAQ did not take it out. We'll take a look at that. We actually made new all-time highs during the daytime session as well in the S&P. Let's take a look at that on the daily chart. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul, on the daily in the S&P?
okay, we're still hugging that 20-day moving average. Light selling volume. So what was the range today? Wow.
In the NASDAQ, it was 126 points. In the S&P, we had a 25-point range. Daily ATR is 56 points.
It was a good day for me to not trade. Um,
Yeah.
that's pretty subdued. There's nothing that would warrant any reason to believe that this market is topping out. A little rust. It is summer doldrums is what I see in that chart. Still looks pretty bullish. And all-time highs were within a hair length of a hair. So not much to say today. And I'm not surprised. Late in July. So onward and upward is what I see in that chart.
Correct. Maybe just a little pit stop on the way to make, and again, we've been talking about this during the opening call. It's a market that's reluctantly making all-time highs. It still made an all-time high today. This is a very indecisive daily candle, pretty much closed where it opened, but ticked an all-time high on the way. So still presenting some opportunity. 25-point range in the S&P today is a little tough, but there were some opportunities there. And the NASDAQ a little bit tighter. Let's take a look at the half hour. And yeah, I mean, you could see how tight this range really is. Um, we know we had the positive response to the Google earnings last night. We really didn't do much outside of this range. Here's the first 30 minutes from last night. I don't think VWAP really ever left that range. That's a consolidated day if I've ever seen one. We came down at some point. On that jobless claims number, and tagged what Hogue called the base of the late spike from yesterday. Andre did talk about all of that positive delta that we saw. So a ton of buying came in during power hour yesterday. We just didn't see that same thing today. We came down, kind of tested where they came in initially, and bounced from there, but not a whole lot of aggressive price action to the upside. Maybe this is a range trader type of day. You can scalp this range. But if you're looking for breakouts, and I talked about this during the opening call as well, if you're buying highs in these markets, you might be having a tough time, right? And looking for these pullbacks have been the better trades, right? We've seen a couple of days now where that first half an hour or hour we get a pullback. This was yesterday. Here was first hour today. We get a pullback. That's an opportunity, or has been an opportunity to buy. Of course, anything can happen, and that pattern will change. But we get that pullback initially, and then we bounce. Buying these breakouts just have not been an easy trade, Coach Paul.
No. And look at like I said, the daily volume was selling volume, but less than average range. It's taking a break at the top.
Yes,
Not
it
to
is.
be unexpected. Really, not much to say. I would say this: if you lost a chunk of money today, learn from it. Sometimes on these kind of days, I would get too aggressive, and then I'm putting on too much size, and then the chop comes in, and then you go back and you're like, what happened?
What was I even looking for? There
Yeah.
wasn't a lot going on, right? Take a
So
look at the daily in the NASDAQ today.
a little different.
A little different. Got a deeper pullback. Still did not take out that all-time high. All-time high in the NASDAQ, 23,424.75. High of the day today, 23,424 and a half. By a tick. By a tick, we could not take it out. And I looked at the order books up there. There was not a lot of size there. So, if buyers wanted to, somebody could have came in with like a 20 lot and made a new all-time high there. But no one was convinced enough to do it. But let's see. It's still making a higher low on the daily chart. Maybe this was just a little bit of a hangover day. We did have a pretty nice day to the upside yesterday.
Yeah.
What are you seeing here on the daily, Coach Paul?
Yeah, that same thing. We've had this pattern of those big days and then maybe 3 or 4 days of top action. This is not a runaway bull market. Um, Also, the volume was less than average. The average, but I like what you said. It's not a double top. This is still a value because we're staying up near the highs. Like it's not getting rejected like you would see. A double top should be right next to candles should be right next to each other in rejection. So it's holding value. Needs some new buying. Um, Not much external news to drive it higher. And maybe a majority of traders are enjoying the day on the lake, sipping lemonade, water skiing, whatever they do up in the Hamptons. And it was just reflected by look at that action. Wow. Um, so
Down.
one thing though, that early selling
Yeah,
went right to the 200,
exactly.
where it just recovered, but no follow through.
Was a decent trade, and I think, and again, Hogan and I talked about this during the opening call. Look what we got at these lows, kind of right at that low, right at that 200 moving average on the 30-minute. Highest volume outside of the open for the day was this 3-minute candle right here on that selling. And I think one of the things that I've been trying to remind myself of, Coach Paul, is that there are sell opportunities in this market. We have, if we look at the opening range here, pretty big opening range. We had VWAP stay in this range all day, did not leave. We talked about this being a sign of a range bound market. So when we push up towards these highs with VWAP staying flat, that's an opportunity to get in short. But when we get these extensions out of the range, if that volume doesn't go with it, whenever that volume fails, we're likely to see a snapback into the really chopped around all day in here. Um, so there are sell side opportunities here. This is 100 points from the high of that opening range down to this low. We talked about finding 20 to 40 point trades in the Nasdaq. You could find a trade in here, but to the short side again, it's just kind of short lived. Longer you hold on to that, the higher probability of a reversal coming in. Just the way the market's been moving. So once we closed above that high volume, that was pretty much the low of the day. A nice recovery, like you said, slow move, 90 point range from that point in 5 hours, but decentish opportunity.
There
Yeah.
wasn't volatility.
Wasn't volatility, you said?
No, no volatility. And people complain about volatility. Well, it wasn't, I mean, it grinded. There was no excitement. And sometimes it's a really good I like those trades.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Sometimes we don't need the excitement, right? We heard
yeah.
Dr. V and Jerome on Topstep TV talking about being bored while you're trading. This might have put you to sleep, but it may not be such a bad thing, right? If I feel like I'm on an F1 track while I'm trading, I might be doing something wrong.
Um, yeah, that was a nice J trade there
Yep.
on the lows. And that's classic that made new lows. And one of the things I noticed there, VWAP never left the opening range. Um, so it was kind of an exploratory, let's see what we have down here kind of move. We don't have anything. Let's cover. And we saw that big buying candle right after it, and that was like immediate. Classic J trade. Let's put a anchor of VWAP to that low. Probably held it the rest of the day.
Little couple looks below it, but even those sell opportunities got rejected. And there are a couple of them. Right, when we see these volume spikes, here's another one, not as dramatic as this one here. Again, rejected, no follow through to the sell side. Um, and it wasn't the most convincing buy opportunity either. But again, what happens when big volume comes in? The first question I ask myself is great. They traded a ton of volume. What did they get for it? And how do they follow it up? And on none of these high volume spikes that we see above that moving average, not one of them. Maybe this one here. This one at these highs on that first attempt at the all-time high. That's the only one that got really any kind of follow through. But even that, if I attach a VWAP here, that VWAP never left that range. So sellers just not being able to sell these markets. We saw Negative delta, and delta is the difference between market order buys and sells. Negative delta towards the end of the day, which means market order sells were coming into this market, but look at what they were getting for it. Price kept moving higher. Um, there are more than day traders in these markets. So somebody was selling, but they were meeting a passive bid. What does that mean going into the end of the week? Tomorrow, Friday, we'll see. Do those sellers get any traction, or do they have to cover? And if they cover, that may be what brings us to all-time highs. Um, all right. Anything else on the equities, Coach Paul?
Rusty it was a little weaker than everyone else, but it was the stronger one yesterday. Just look at the daily and
Completely different chart.
yeah, that had continuation.
And
One with the Dow. The Dow was pretty weak too.
look, the Russell continuing to be the top percentage mover in the equities every day, down 1.24%. And the reason we bring this up, there are opportunities in other markets. We keep talking about the S&P and the NASDAQ kind of with this reluctant price action that we're seeing. The Russell, I think, every day this week has been at either up or down 1%. But there just may be more opportunity. And I'm saying this as somebody who, you talk about it. Do you actually look at it to trade it? Because I could be either struggling to find an opportunity in the Nasdaq, or take a look at the Russell, keep it up on the side maybe, and see an opportunity. The Dow initially found some buyers, came right back to that opening range towards the end of the day when that VWAP flattened out.
Well, last night broke that hard last night?
Yeah, so we see this happen, and I don't know what causes it, but this is 5 a.m. Central Time, and if you look back on a Russell chart, there are times where at 5 a.m., I don't know what news or headline drops around that time, there is a volume spike. And whatever that was, sorry, this is the Dow. Uh, in the Dow, this does happen.
And that
I'm not
was
sure.
a buying candle that failed immediately.
Yep.
Wow. I'm gonna have to get up earlier. Boy, that had urgency.
Oh yeah, that left pretty quick, and we can see something happened up here, right? These prices meant something to someone. We say that all the time, right? When the New York session started, where we went to, right back to that range, and that's where price rejected again. So do we need to know what happened here? We don't. A lot of times, and I'll try to do this more on the opening call, right? With going over the charts with Hogue, just finding some of these volume anomalies during, you know, prior to the regular trading hour session, and just give us some areas to look, right? Why did somebody trade 1,200 contracts in the Dow when the average at this time was 100, right? So that's 10 times the average. Why they do that at 6 a.m. Eastern time, but then no follow through? Look at the volume afterwards. You go from 1,200 to 130 to 56 contracts to nothing, right? No trading at all. So something happened up here.
You
Market
know
comes
what's
back.
great? Going back to that. So middle at 5 a.m.
Yep.
Central. So most likely European action. Maybe there was but it was peculiar to the Dow. And 1,200 contracts trade to make new highs of the session. All right. Well, I think it was new. Did it maybe by a tick?
Yeah.
So think about this. If you were to put yourself as that buyer, I bought 1,200 contracts and I get a spike, right? And it doesn't go higher. And now lesser volume is driving the what I just bought lower. So in the principle of this is that buying got, like you used like to say, goes, what did they get for it? They got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Was it at a 50 lot took it out of that range?
About 300 contracts maybe if we add up all of this for the market to get out of that range. About 300 contracts took it out of this range.
Okay. Wow. That's good to know. Then with that VWAP going lower from that, we know that there's no
So-
follow through buying. We can determine that's I don't care if this is the Dow or micro Bitcoin or feeder cattle. Looking at that, that's bad buying by definition, period. And oh my, and you say this has happened before on the Dow?
Something that I've noticed, I don't know what causes it. Maybe we have some of our traders in London that maybe something about some news or something that drops around that time. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it, and it doesn't happen in the S&P and the NASDAQ. It'll happen in the Dow. Uh, just a I don't know, weird thing that happens there around that time. Uh, but let's keep
Mhm.
going here. Let's go over to gold. We are getting some comments, continued comments from the president here. We should have lower interest rates. We should have the lowest interest rates of any nation. And continuing to put pressure on Powell. We know we have a Fed rate decision coming up next week. Right now, expectations are to keep rates exactly where they are. But over the past couple of weeks, there has been a ton of pressure to cut rates. He says a very good Fed tour. We looked around. They have to finish it. Got to finish the tour. Sorry, got to finish the renovations. Let's take a look at gold here, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here in gold?
Right back to the 20 and 50-day moving average. Um, and if we could, do you still have those trend lines?
We can put it back from that all-time
Yeah,
high.
because I think that was yesterday's high, and then we're still in this big Dorito or pennant. Um, man, okay, right back to it, right back to the moving average. Bottom line, they're all going to converge because we're going nowhere fast, and really good trading opportunities in between.
Amazing trading. Gold is
I
probably the best trading market right now.
It's golden.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's and it doesn't chop around when it decides. So let's go to last night's action. But I still believe it's going to come out of this. It's still favoring the upside, but on the half hour we're getting closer and closer, or on the daily we're getting closer and closer to the 200. Everything's converging. So starting last night, after that late break, we did not see any follow through at all, almost no action to the upside. No. So right off the bat, we had no action. I remember looking at it because I wasn't trading, and I'm like, "There's nothing here." Um, my feeling, my gut was that we'd have some kind of response back up. And where did the selling begin? Was it in
Off the open,
Valley Old England?
yeah. So we have that 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time. 8 p.m. Central? Yeah, 8 p.m. Central Time. We usually see that spike of volume come in. I think
Oh,
some of our
Shanghai Gold open.
exactly Shanghai Gold open. Some of our traders pointed out to us. That's where that volume really got going. Um, I was in the short last night with Dakota on slow markets, and if you guys remember what I was looking for, I said, I was in the short from this opening range. It looked like a decent trade. Clearly, in hindsight, I should have just held on to it. But did have that 200 moving average on the 30-minute, which is this white line right here. So that's where I managed my position. And then when we bounced from there a couple of times, right, VWAP wasn't convincingly leaving that range. I did say, we need to see some sellers below that 200 moving average, and then I'll get back into the trade. I went to sleep, so I missed it. But we can
You
see once
needed some rest, coach.
I really did. We can see though, once we started to get some candle closes on the 30-minute below, we see, volume building, right? Where we're not seeing, that reversal. We can go down to a shorter time frame and take a look at this, but we're seeing continuation volume, right? We're not seeing uh, that reversal pattern. Here was potential for one here, but every time we came back up to VWAP, we rejected, right? So here's a quick reversal. That was this initial test of,
That
was it
was a
this
J
one?
trade.
Yeah, it was, right? And but the flow was pretty heavy to the downside. No follow through buying, and just a really nice trend lower until we got to
I
New
know
York
it.
session. Traded gold in
Wow.
chat. Who caught any of this move? Gold. I caught part of the long, right? Most of my profits from the day came from this long off of this off that 50-day moving average. Uh, but who caught that initial short? Ghosty says this was my slow markets trade, but I got scared and exited out. GDL killed it with the gold trade last night. Great trade. GDL, I agree. Gold is a great risk to reward.
I think gold it should be leading the program.
At this point, Hogue talks about it all the time. At this point, I don't disagree with you. Because even for the New York session, right? By the time we start fast markets, it's maybe a little late, but even then, there's still a 20-point trade here, and it on a higher time frame, it's not going anywhere. But on a smaller time frame, there are definitely opportunities to trade this market.
Yeah, matter of fact, it's the one I go to first.
Yeah. We got a question here from Joe. In that J trade, at what point is the entry? Great question because we have one right here actually. So on this low here, and perhaps traders will say, "Well, that's hindsight. How do you know it's the low?" Uh,
You don't.
once it closes. And what I don't try to do is catch this low, right? I don't need to find out. It's not my job to figure out how to get in at this low tick right here. What I will say is that looking for a potential place for that reversal to happen on a higher time frame is important. Where did it happen? Right at that 50-day moving average, right? So at the 50-day moving average, we get the highest volume of the day, and we immediately close above it on the next candle. Joe, that should be the entry, right? That's the ideal entry. As soon as this candle closes outside this range, that should be the ideal entry there. Stop goes on the other side. But context and location matter, right? Remember where this is happening on a higher time frame. So when I took this trade, it was a little bit later. I took it somewhere around here, 33.63, but I was comfortable with this one, especially because if you add the VWAP to it from this point where we had highest volume, what does volume say? It left that range. This is an urgency reversal. There are no more sellers down here, and they met some buyers and continue to push us higher. Now, how big of a trade this turns out to be, maybe we could look for a 2-to-1. We got one. Pretty nice 2-to-1 here. But it's your job to manage the trade at that point. But that would be the entry.
Um, Once again, I love what he said. How do you know that's the low? Well,
No
we
idea.
don't know. So here's the key to it. It closes above the high of the high volume candle. We had one just before that with high volume, didn't break.
There's a couple here, right? Here's one that could have had the potential to be one. We closed outside. This would have just been a losing trade. Let's take a look at what VWAP did here, though. Added confluence, that VWAP never left the range. So, do you add that confluence every time or not? That's up to you. But in a case where it doesn't leave, it fails. Then you were talking about this one, right, Coach Wall?
Yeah. And it makes a new low. So we're waiting for it to close above that. And then we go to the right. We keep going. Now we have a higher one. We mark that.
This is our new anchor point.
And then we close above it. And now we still don't know it's the low. And I hope this helps people. I never think of that I know anything. I think in probabilities. I really, because I had to go through this because I had a problem with being wrong or taking good losses. I did have to try and hold it till I was right. But thinking in probabilities, every time I see one, I'm going to that gives me notice because it's making new lows. It's double the average volume. My mentor Peter Stottlemyre said the thing to me, which I didn't. It took me years to understand. He says, "Don't try and find the high and low price. Find out where the sellers stop or the buyers stop. Find the last buyer or seller." And I'm like, okay, thanks. What am I going to do with that?
In their doorbell? Like,
Yeah,
what the hell are you what are you saying?
yeah.
Are you done
Thanks.
buying yet? Is it my turn to sell?
But the importance of that is that's what he's talking about here. We don't know, and it's such a great question. I hope people understand. Jay and I never profess that we know,
No, never.
but
We'll say it has the potential to be.
yes, it's probabilities. Think in probabilities.
Yeah, and I think, uh, again, you heard me say my job is not to try to figure out what this low is. There is a lot of probably call it stress or wasted mental capital on trying to figure out what the low tick or high tick of the market is going to be and plan that reversal. I've just done that way too many times where it, always comes back to bite me. Uh, is this reversal always going to be the best trade? It's not. But eliminating trying to figure out that lower high tick just helps let the market decide instead of me trying to decide. And every once in a while, you're still going to get in and it's like, oh yeah, I want to take it. I did one yesterday. The gold trade that I took in the opening call yesterday, we never confirmed a reversal. And I said it out loud when I took it on the show. And when you say something, you're just like, that doesn't sound right. Why are you saying that?
Take that
I
back.
yeah, I literally said should get a 3-minute candle close above this high. Take a look at that trade right here, because it was this one. Was it this one? No,
New low.
it was this one here. I took it and I said we should get a 3-minute candle close above that high. That's when this candle was printing right here. What happened? We did not get a 3-minute candle close. So I was thinking instead of just waiting, if I wait, what happens? I don't take this trade because we never got a close. Think less. Think less is
Oh,
what I remind myself of.
Nike said it all.
Just do
Right?
it. Just do it. All right. Anything else on gold, Coach? We got a request for copper. We could take a look at copper real quick. Made new
Copper,
all-time highs
copper,
yesterday.
wire. By the way, why don't you have a New York accent? Yeah, you have a great. You talk Queen's English.
I don't know.
Because when on a trading desk, we call New York, and they called it Kapawaya. Kapawaya. Because I guess there's a difference between the contracts at the time.
YM says, I'm
Okay.
so pissed off right now. Dumbass NASDAQ. Hey, man, we can't show every comment that we get in the chat, but if you need to, as long as that hate is not directed towards us and it's directed towards the markets, do what you got to do. If this is your journal, we can't show all those comments, but I wanted an ego trade. YM, keep that in mind, right? If it's an ego trade, keep that in mind. You got to separate from your ego. Watch Dr. V and Dr. Jerome's session that they did today in Topstep TV. We really have to do a better job, all of us, at removing ourselves from what we want, because the markets really do not give a shit. And the clearer we, or the quicker we accept that, the quicker we can just trade what the markets say. Do we have to have confidence in doing this? 100%. You got to be confident in your setups, and you have to have belief in your setup over everyone else's. Right? If we're sitting if we're sitting right across from each other, and you respect my analysis on the markets, but your playbook says take something else, it doesn't give it doesn't matter what I say. Like you should not give a shit what I say because you're following your plan at the end of the day. So you have to have confidence, but when that confidence starts to bleed over into ego, you might not be thinking. So keep that in mind. GDL, you can hear it from, yeah, you're from Queens, all right. Copper did make new all-time highs today, 59.58.5, and rejected. Let's take a look here. Coach Paul, what are you seeing on the daily here?
Well, we haven't closed above that tariff monstrous candle. What was it, the 5% day?
Oh, yeah.
We went halfway, so we're sitting right at it, but we're having a series of higher highs, higher lows. Today we made it by a bid and offer. But overall that chart looks very healthy. But but we don't trade the daily. We look at that for some idea of direction. So let's look from last night.
Trade last night. This what trade that looked like the Dow kind of. Dow did something similar, rallied last night and then sold off. Uh, trade last night.
Yeah. Where did the buying be? It looks like in Europe also.
Mm, So this here is kind of late Asia session. This
Okay.
here is London.
Oh, London was the last buyer.
Go Sotomayor. We found him.
We found it. Now, did we get a J trade on volume? Yes, we did. On
Yeah,
this
on
on
this
the
30 minute.
buy. Okay, Pete, thank you.
You found him.
We
Send him a
found it.
postcard. Thank you for telling us that you're the last buyer. How did they tell us? Again, that close below. Close below here, and this is like 30-minute. Markets are fractal. You can find these patterns really on any time frame that you look at them. But high volume here, higher volume than we had all day at these highs. We get the wick rejection. Close below. Stop goes where on the other side? Get your 2 to 1, Coach Paul. Now,
Yeah.
I hate when and I said this, Dakota, we were talking about absolutes yesterday, and someone asked what is the one like what is the one trading advice that you hate the most in the trading space that maybe misleads beginners. And for me, it's the all you need is this setup to be a winner advice. It's like, oh, just add this indicator to your chart, 90% win rate. It's all you need to be a profitable trader. We go over these setups because they're what we look for in the moment, right? While the markets are moving, these are what we're looking for. But really, the mental capacity to execute on these setups and trust them at the end of the day is what makes a profitable trader. You could give this setup to 1,000 people. There might be 2 that are profitable with it because they actually trust a system and trust themselves to execute. And outside of that, they scale the right way. Coach Paul, if I look at this trade and say, hey, we closed outside the range, these guys talk about this all the time. This is high probability. I'm going to take this with 15 contracts. What happens?
Well, it's called probability, not certainty. Now, one of the transitions for traders we have to make is you never have complete information. If you had complete information, we wouldn't have markets. Markets are there for risk transfer from end users and producers. Our job as traders is to take risk. There is no certainty. So, I like to say, if I'd have known this when I started, the only certainty we have is uncertainty. So when you know that, like you said, you can have Richard Dennis said this when he gave when he published his rules for his famous turtle trading program. He goes, and he did. Before he said, I could publish these in the Wall Street Journal, and 80% of people would fail.
Right.
Not but because you have to have the temperament or gauge the right amount of risk. Like you said, this one for sure. I've done it. When I was really young in the pits, you could do 100. Like now, sure, sometimes you could do 100 if you know that you could lean on another order, but you really, in this environment, you can't. Plus, you can't. It won't go through. But you have to know your size. You have to position it right. If you had 15 on, and this is it's an 80%, 90% profit rate. Well, it's not 100%.
Well,
It's still with a 90% there's a 10% of chance of storms. If you plan your picnic and it gets ruined, it's just that's the risk we take. So with that, like you said, 15%. or 15 contracts. You can't, how many times have we talked about this? Never put yourself in a position where you have to win.
100%. We are getting some more comments. The president just concluded his comments on the Fed tour. On Talk with Powell, thought it was a good meeting, no tension. Does not see the Fed cost overruns as grounds to remove Powell. He says he doesn't want to put that in this category. The cost got out of control, and that happens. I believe Powell will do the right thing. I have a name in mind to replace Powell, maybe 3, but he's not putting any pressure on him to resign. Reiterating that he is looking for a 3-point interest rate cut by the Fed, saying that he's not putting pressure on Powell to resign. Yo, all right, let's take a look at crude oil. Did make a little bit of a move today. What are we looking at here on the daily? We could spend as much or little time on this as you want, Coach Paul. Your call.
Well, you said it was up a percent, over a percent. Let's see what was there. By the way, I mean, that's a market for ants, as far as range is concerned.
Yeah.
Let's look at the half hour. I have nothing to say. I mean,
Just over a dollar range here. Just over a dollar range. It was up 1%, but what is that really saying in crude oil right now? Take a look at the half an hour. Wow, this is bought it last night. Great job.
If you sold it last night, I don't blame you. Let's take that way. Like that. Let's go this from the selling side, because we always talk about, cut your losses. This is what I mean by cutting your losses. So let's say you just sold it. What is your never get in a position without having an exit plan? So
Actually thought about shorting this last night just because I thought it was the higher range. So let's go with it, Coach Paul. Where would your stop be?
all right, let's look at see where it closes in the first half an hour. And because I want to sell it. So the close in the first half an hour was
45.
okay. So I sold 45s.
Okay.
Now, how much do I want to risk? My average is the average true range, 2 average true ranges.
6.
God, that looks like $3.
$3. Yeah, it does.
So let's just say I'm risking or a close above the opening range, whichever comes first. Well, we had those. So at that time, I leave, I go have dinner. I come back. And where's the close? Where did it close above the range?
Close. So we had a couple candles that traded outside of the opening range, and this is why I think you go with that 2 ATR stop, Coach Paul. If we went with 1
Yeah.
ATR, you would be right about here. But the close was about 9 ticks above your entry. And I like that, right? That's new information. You didn't get what you were looking for. The market did try to break lower, but we wicked above the opening range. You gave it the space to work. Wicked below the opening range, and now you're seeing failed breakout. Do I really need to hold on to this trade? If it closes outside this range, I'm out. It's 9
Yeah.
ticks.
So what was the loss? Like $100?
Less than 100, $90 on that close if you got that closing price. So yeah, about $100.
All right, I'm done.
Done.
Okay. Now, do I get information, new information? Because I really don't like initiating. We've done this long enough in Asia in crude. It's not a major for whatever the reason. It doesn't matter. Volume comes in when London comes in. So let's see what happened in Europe.
Here is the London Open. So we got some volume before London came in. We like switch clocks or something like this. It seems like all the volume is coming in an hour earlier.
Maybe it was Paul H. Is it British summertime?
going on over there? Because I'm looking at a couple of charts right now, and it looks like volume is coming in a little bit earlier on all of them. Pipe has you gave up on crude.
Yep.
Hey,
Maybe the
crude gave up
action's
on
coming
us.
out of Paris or Germany.
Yeah. Paul says yes, it is. Did the clocks change? Because thing is, and all these charts look like volume's coming in an hour earlier. Uh, Either way, that's when the buying started. Kind of held it up. So they did. This is just a nasty looking market. Hey,
Okay.
if you can find your
So if I
opportunities,
buy
trade
it
them.
there, okay, what's my risk? A close below that candle, not just a tick, and or two ATRs to make four ATRs. I lose again. Um, okay.
Just looking at crude oil looks like you're forcing trades.
Yep.
So let's take a look at an energy market that is. This looks pretty too. This is natural gas. It does present some opportunity. Maybe we found a bottom here on the daily, potentially, but presenting
Mm.
some better opportunities than crude oil right now. Uh, any other markets? We went over the big four already, Coach Paul. Any other markets you want to talk about? We covered copper. Chat. If you guys have any questions, let us know.
You know,
Anything that you guys want to talk about?
most of these markets are in the summer doldrums.
Yes, they are.
We're heading into August, and Europe, we won't be. You probably won't be watching us. Um, Europe kind of shuts down. Good for
Yeah.
you guys. We should learn from you. Um, I don't see anything of big interest. I mean, I looked across my screen. Everything was close to unchanged, and I was like, "Well, I'm glad I didn't." Well, what is that?
This is platinum.
All right, is this that's the daily, right?
Daily on platinum.
Look where we're at. So this is an interesting market. Thank you
Yep.
for bringing that up.
Yeah. Good stuff, JD.
Um, we're sitting at that 20-day moving average, and we didn't really bounce off of it well. And what's happening to the 20-day moving average? It's flattening out. So there's the one to keep an eye on, that 20-day for like a sharp correction to the downside. Now let's look at the half hour from last night.
A lot like gold.
Yes, it does.
A lot like that gold chart. Had the same reversal. Happened earlier than gold did, but right off this is that 20 moving average we marked out. Interesting.
And
Item.
it's
Go ahead, Coach.
is it under the half hour 200 moving average?
Yep. Got under yesterday.
Oh, look at that. Luna got under, went back and tested it.
A lot like that gold chart.
Yes, it does. And this one, it has to, there could be a sharp correction coming. I'm going to keep an eye on that. JD brought this up. Thank you.
Yeah, JD's bringing up a bunch of
JD.
markets. The Nikkei, the Japanese yen, a ton of opportunity out there, right? There are 35 different markets. We can't trade them all, but platinum has been presenting opportunities every day. Maybe are struggling in the NASDAQ and you want to trade platinum in your practice account, how you fare there. Maybe you want to look at the Japanese yen. I think also maybe you don't switch full time to trading a different market, but I think there's something to be said for trading a market that you have no opinion on. Um, we and just taking a technical approach to the markets. We trade the Nasdaq every day. Or you trade the S&P every day. You start to develop an opinion about price, and what you think fair price is, or where good buy and sell opportunities are. If you have no idea what this market trades, maybe don't put real risk behind it. But if you need to just get some shots up, using a basketball analogy, coach, you have a shooter going through a slump. Like, hey, just get a layup. Screen time, alpha trader, exactly right. Go get a layup. Go see the ball go through the basket, so you know that you can do this. and you don't feel the pressure to have to make a game-winning shot every single time you put something up. Could be an opportunity to do that in some of these other markets.
Oh wow, yeah, great analogy, by the way. That is so true. Um, do something easy, feel some success, where you're not in this spiral of negativity,
Yeah,
which is easy to get into.
100%.
Stay there. What was that? I want to see something at that high was interesting. So first, we Nikkei. Look what happened. We had that high. Look at that selling volume now. Versus, we talk about J trade on that high. It was twice the average volume. Okay, that means something. Versus, it wasn't making new lows. This is probably a really good example of where the last buyer came in. We had that big rally yesterday, and we see this big buying volume and this explosion. Then it opened. What is this? An open?
1:30 Eastern, so 9:30 Central. Maybe an hour is nope, that's not the right time. That's 11:30. 11:30 Eastern time, so 10:30 Central. I don't know. Maybe there was some news. I know there was some like Japanese inflation data that came out last night. I think it came out earlier, um,
No.
but there was some news last night.
So, but we do know we had that big volume spike selling. Whatever, even when we have to, if we have a selling candle when it closes, I love putting VWAPs on those. By the way, that was the high of the move, and it's was sold off.
Yep.
Now, frame that out, and look when we get below that, and we close, not just tick. When I hear we get below that, you can assume I'm talking about a close. Yep. But this looks weak topish for a little bit. That's like an intermediate top to me. Let's see if we can get continuation from that.
On the daily having this massive candle. Again, this candle was a response to the US trade deal. We couldn't close outside of it. Sometimes these imbalances do like to get filled. So could we see a rotation back down in the Nikkei? See some traders, say it in the chat. It's too expensive for our Topstep accounts, and I don't disagree. This is an extremely expensive contract, $25 a tick in a very thin market. But this again might be somewhere where in a combine or in a practice account where you just want to get shots up, don't have an opinion about the market and just trade what it tells you instead of what you want to see. I know Dakota traded it for a while last year, had some pretty big Nikkei trades. But again, we're going over this because this analysis can apply, and whatever analysis that you use can apply to any market. You don't have to continue to struggle in a market that may not be serving you well. So just keeping that in mind. All right, we got about 9 minutes left. I don't see too many questions in the chat. V2 Trading says, "Have you guys tried footprint and bookmap charts?" I've used them both. They're just a little bit too noisy. I get the idea behind them, and I use some of the concepts. Just reading volume, reading the DOM, reading time and sales. I just don't. I personally just don't like how they look. It's kind of noisy. Have you used them before, Coach Paul?
Yes, I have. I'm kind of in your camp. I like I like VWAP because it gives me the end of the battle, the result. And if it works, I highly recommend if it works for you, and it works for a lot of people. More in your camp. I don't watch the dome. This is a lot of this. People just it gets me on edge, like I'm missing something. I don't know, but it's valuable. And for those of you, maybe one time we'll have someone on who uses them, and they can share their insights.
like what Paul H said here, I have a customized book map to cut out 80% of the noise. That's exactly what I do with the depth of market, where it filters out anything less than. I'm looking at the NASDAQ. I don't want to see anything less than 25 contracts because that could be me, and you don't want to follow me. Market does not want to follow me. So filter out all the noise. But Coach Paul, I think we could wrap. I think we could
Yeah.
wrap. We covered everything. You got anything before we go?
Yeah, remember we are in summer markets. Don't if you're frustrated because there's little action, you can also take a few days off. It's better. I didn't. It took me a while to understand. It's better, like today, if you're trading equities, and then maybe just do something else. Enjoy life. You don't have to trade every day. And you really sometimes this is why people take breaks. Understand your mind needs a break too. So if not, tomorrow's Friday. Is there any big news?
Let's take a look real quick at the calendar. I do not believe so. No, tonight we have some. Coach, did you know cities had their own CPI? Right? Tokyo,
Cities?
Tokyo CPI instead of
Oh,
Japan CPI.
how many people live in Tokyo? That's interesting. I kind of like that idea. To tell you the truth, but is Tokyo the largest population in the world? Someone chat GPT that, please.
Largest
Um,
city population?
yeah, I think they're right. It's really large.
AI is starting to take over. For some reason, Chat GPT on my phone is looking up Tokyo CPI. Right. Robots, if you're listening, I'm friendly. I appreciate you guys.
You know, I have a robot's my best friend.
Yeah,
Yeah, make sure your chat GPT hears that.
right. Yeah.
I'm on your side.
Some Tokyo numbers out tonight, so Dakota might get some volatility during slow markets, but tomorrow, U.S. durable goods, and that's really it. Um, and next week, of
Don't
course, we
push.
have Fed. I don't see any big earnings or anything like that, so pretty quiet end to the week
Yeah, on a Friday.
on a Friday.
Last Friday in July.
Don't try to force
Don't
anything.
don't push it.
Let the
Trade
market come.
gold. No,
Don't push it.
don't.
Trade gold.
Don't listen to me.
Hey, I'm listening. I'm listening. That's not financial advice. That just might be a good friend steering
Yeah.
you in the right direction. Uh,
I just might be a robot.
Robots are our friends. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew, as always, for helping us run this session. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you haven't done so already, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button if you like what we're doing. If you have any suggestions on how you want to see the show change, improve, doing a great job, a terrible one, let us know. I don't think we're doing a terrible job. So if you said that, you'd be lying. But we appreciate the comments either way. We are still thinking about bringing some guests on, guests from our audience on. Anyone who's filled out that casting call, we do have your information. We'll reach out to you soon and figure that out. Appreciate you all joining. Have a great rest of your day. Coach Robert is doing a class in Discord right now. We have Coach Hoop 15 minutes or 15 minutes or so starting his class. Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. And then, of course, Dakota with slow markets tonight. Baron may be joining him. Hopefully, Baron's feeling better. For slow markets, then we have Aaron doing the London Open at 1:30 a.m. Central Time. No Euro trade with D. Tomorrow is Friday. Takes off on Fridays, and I don't blame her. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.